today?
Good morning, ladies. Good morning and happy Thursday. Good afternoon to those who are watching from Europe, Africa, and around the world. We are doing this. We are celebrating all the women around the world because we are powerful. We are phenomenal. Without us, there is nobody. Because we are the foundation and we build everything from the beginning. So this is our day 3 out of the 6 days that we put together to celebrate women and
Mhm.
also to empower one another. And thanks to all these social media platforms who are just making it happen for us. No matter where we are, we come together, we look at face to face, we chat, we talk, and we laugh, even cry. And today, but we are not here to cry. Some of our speakers, yes, some message will touch you. We shed tears, then we catch up and say, we are strong. So today is another day. And you see how happy I am and happy to see a strong women here. Thank you, Miss Nancy, to join us. Miss Jasandra was here yesterday, all the way from California, and invited so many people from yesterday and this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thank you, Coach Janine, and my good friend Rosalyn, straight from Ontario, Canada. Me and Rosalyn, I'm gonna be to you see she's laughing because for us to be connected is something I cannot even explain. But she pushed it. We just met in one of the conferences with her story, and it was between Europe. What is the name again, Rosalyn? Um,
Her story circle?
her
Is that
story
yeah.
circle, and we did very good. And she ended up, we exchanged numbers, and she ended up messaging. Since day one, she never stopped reaching out. Always say, "Hello, my sister, how are you?" All that filled me. I'm telling you guys, and she pushed me to become to started messaging and doing it too. So we have to continue pushing the way Rosalind pushed me. And I'm always grateful how I asked her and she said, yes, anything that will inspire women out there and everywhere, she's ready to help and anything. So that's how Rosalind is a part of this. And we have amazing ladies, but they are not connected yet. But we have Miss Rhonda. Been a week now. They are behind the scene. Janine, Rosalind, Dr. Tammy, Dr. Pat, we are out there. We don't sleep. We have to put everything together. So a big thanks to these ladies. For me, deep down my heart, I'm surrounded with a good people, a good women who believe in change and who want to see change in women. And when they speak deep down and say we have to change. Yes, we women, we have to change because so many women are out there, they have talent, but they cannot see anyone that will help them. They have vision, but there is no one to support them. When you are out there and you find someone with that vision, please support. When I started this journey, there is one woman. She's a Black lady in Chesapeake, Virginia here, Dr. Lakeisha McKnight. You can Google, look on her and on Facebook. She's the founder of Born to Lead organization and Women Elevation. Lakeisha reached out to me on Facebook and said, I love what you are doing. How can I help? I don't know her. And I went straight and Google and read about her. Then I messaged her back. And since then, we traveled to Nigeria. We empower so many women from the Lagos all the way to the north, more than 50 to 60,000 women. And being from Africa
Wow.
myself and also being a
Mhm.
part of Yoruba family, we were welcomed. I'm telling you, when you are in a good circle. And from here today, I just want to send this message to Lakeisha Magna, Dr. Lakeisha Magna. If she listens to this, I'm still grateful for her to put me out there. And after that, I received so many awards. Being an inspirational Black woman 2018-19, triumphant woman. Since 2017, I've been receiving, it's like, I don't know, she believed, she saw something. I didn't even see myself. And she did the right thing. She helped me with my first book called The Heart of a Warrior. And today, even though we are not together, you know, when you are busy, we all take our separate ways. But the bond's still there, the love's still there. So whoever puts you out there, never forget yesterday. Always be grateful. No matter what happened, always remember that that particular person helped me when no one did. So thank you all, lady, for joining this morning. And let's all come together, empower one another, lift up one another, and solve whatever we think couldn't be solved. We will, and we can do it. Thank you, and back to you, Janine.
Thank you so much, Coach Sandra. And that's really a testimony and a great message about the power of partnership. Definitely, we do thank and we are very grateful for all the connection that you have really made all this time, because you've been consistent. And that's one of the things that we talked about in this conference: consistency as a leader, as an authentic leader. That's one of the things that we need to do every day. And you know, some of the ladies here that you connect with, who knows, in the future you might be doing some work together. So that's how all starts. So thank you for sharing that powerful story, young Coach Sandra. Okay, now I think I'm gonna switch in French, so explaining to folks and inviting them to share and to invite more other people, and then we'll be able to start with our first speaker. Merci beaucoup de se connecter encore ce matin. Et Coach Sandra vient encore de partager et de donner un peu le parcours, comment est-ce qu'elle est arrivée jusqu'ici. Depuis 2008, elle a commencé à travailler avec une dame qui s'appelle Dr. Lekisha. Elle a vu de potentialités en elle et elle se connectait à elle through Facebook, le social media. Aujourd'hui, on est vraiment reconnaissant de la technologie qui nous réunit ensemble, des femmes ensemble, pour travailler ensemble. Donc, ça fait vraiment des années qu'elle a pu commencer ce parcours et elle a travaillé avec beaucoup d'autres femmes aussi. Après ça, elle a reçu beaucoup d'awards. C'est à cause de parce qu'elle s'est levée. Et ensemble, elles ont travaillé, elles sont parties au Nigeria et aussi dans des autres pays, juste pour continuer à encourager les femmes. Donc, merci beaucoup à Coach Sandra. Et nous allons continuer à écouter beaucoup de témoignages et beaucoup d'encouragement par les autres speakers ce matin. Et en tout cas, restez connectés. Merci beaucoup les gens qui sont sur YouTube et Facebook et dans les autres endroits. Restez connectés et surtout, il faut partager ce lien. Merci beaucoup. And now we're going to give the floor to our first speaker, which is Rosalyn, and she all the way from Ontario, Canada, and she's going to be sharing with us her journey and her story as a leader. Thank you so much. Coach Sandra? So I think you mute yourself. Okay, there we go. So in a few minutes, Coach Sandra, I'm going to introduce our third speaker, and we can be able to hear from her.
Okay, before we start, I want to share the screen. 1 second, Rosalyn, I'm sorry. We're going to share this screen to celebrate these 3 women first.
Okay.
Then we could just give me 5 minutes, please. That's and okay. We have these amazing women that I'm like, this morning, we have to celebrate them. And in the history, ever, we have one Black woman who became the world's most powerful woman. And we have more, and I just want to share the screen so that we can say thank you to them. This woman that you are, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
This woman is from Togo, my country, and she made history of becoming the first Prime Minister in Togo and in Africa's history. And her name is Mrs. Mrs. Dogbe Victoire. And you can also look on her page on Facebook. You can message her, congratulate her. We cannot celebrate women without going to our background to celebrate those women and to make them feel like, okay, a sister is watching and seeing what we are doing. So she's a wonderful woman who is doing so many things in my country right now, helping the girls. She's doing it, but her voice only cannot make a change. And that's why I always message her every day, trying to make her feel like, yes, we are seeing what you are doing. So from here all the way to Togo, when she's gonna watch this video, we women today around the world, we celebrate you. We come together and celebrate this sister, Mrs. Victoire Dogbe, all the way in Togo, the first and ever first Premier Minister in Togo history. And the second one is gonna be, this is her also. And now this is Dr. Oh yes, the one I'm waiting. Mrs. Kamala Harris, like we all know, women history. And we're gonna continue making it because we are women and we never back down. When we know we wanna see the change that we wanna see, and we are pushing so hard. So let's encourage one another. We are here today. Who is gonna be a woman that will lead from this group? We don't know yet, but it's coming. It could be Janine, it could be Miss Nancy Ness. I'm gonna see in the Senate. It could be Rosalyn doing something in Canada. Who, you never know. Someone you see now can change in 24 hours. So let's keep hoping. And I told my children, my son, the middle of my son was watching President Obama's speech and say, Mom, I'm gonna be this president one day. That's what we wanna see. So let's continue encouraging one another so that we all can see the world in a better place. And this woman is from Nigeria. Dr. Ngozi. The video is, that's it. She's the one that was nominated as a World Bank leader. She's from Nigeria, a sister, a mom, a grandma. And isn't it beautiful for us to see that we are making history, we are changing the world, and the girls who are watching will know that they also can become something in the future. So let's continue encouraging, doing all these conferences, putting things together so that we all can make it and see the world in a better place. Thank you. I just want to share this quick photo and video with you guys to encourage you, to make you know that we are not here just to talk, but we are here to celebrate one another. Thank you. And back to you, Janine.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Those are really a good reference for us, Coach Sandra, because they really paving the way for us. You know, they're making history, and this is really because they've been consistent. They've been serving, because really leadership is about public service. So public service, definitely, we all know about that. So thank you for this encouragement this morning, and welcome, Miss Rosalyn. We're gonna have her as our first speaker all the way from Canada, Ontario.
All right.
Thank you. I want to share my screen. So just press, I can do share the screen.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, it says host is disabled participant screen sharing. So I just need to be able to share my screen and I'm good to go.
Sure.
But it's not letting me.
Oh yeah, I didn't put you as a, okay, hold on.
Okay.
All right, come on.
Okay, that's a seat. If I
All
can do
right,
this.
now you are co-host.
Okay, so let me just see here. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just start from the start. I'm just gonna move these over. Okay, hold up. My computer doesn't necessarily want to agree with me, so just whatever. Just want to make sure I can see everything. So, all right, so we're ready to wait. I'm just going to move this again over here. Oh, there we go. Oops, I see a spelling mistake already. I apologize. I didn't catch celebrating women. It should be women, not women. So if you want to use this, I will change that before you use this. So good day, wherever you might be joining from. I feel as though this presentation is a work in progress and will never be complete, and for good measure, throw a pandemic in too. Each day I seem to learn something new about myself. So the next 20 minutes is a glimpse into my world, what I've experienced and what I've learned. A heads up too that this presentation might jump around a bit. It always seems kind of tough to get thoughts onto paper. So one reason I titled this talk, Please Don't Sweep Us Under the Rug, We Care and We Can Help, is because as I was traveling on my new journey, the focus was often on my husband and very few ever asked about me. I remember a counselor once said, so Rosalyn, what are you going to do if you don't move out of Vancouver? And that had been a desire of mine because at that point we hadn't really gotten anywhere, like financially, friend-wise, or anything. In that said conversation, there was nothing about my husband changing. So on we go. I'm going to see if this works. How it does. So I know this looks like I'm going to tell you a fairy tale or something, but this is actually a true story from my point of view. I take you back to July 14th, 1997. It was the early evening as my husband and I were coming home from work. He was riding his bike home from out by the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, BC, and I was coming from a suburb called Burnaby. I returned home first and phoned a friend, finished on the phone, and he wasn't home. So I decided to check outside. So I walked around the block to see if I could see him, and no such luck. So I returned into the house and saw that we had a message on our phone. So this is like the old-fashioned phone where like there was a light blinking when there was a message. So I clicked on the display and I saw that his work colleague had called. But lo and behold, the message wasn't from his work colleague, but rather it said,
In it, there's a character whose job in the universe.
sorry, I can't. Oh, okay. But lo and behold, the message wasn't from his work colleague, but rather it said,
nothing comes into
Mrs.
existence.
Can you guys hear me?
Until it's named.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but
Don't you love that?
Do you want me to keep? What's that?
Yeah, actually, Coach Sandra, can you mute everybody else, please?
Everybody is mute.
No, we just heard that. I think somebody was, yeah, that's okay. Sorry for the inconvenience, guys.
No, that's
Sorry.
okay. Shall I keep going?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, but lo and behold, the message wasn't from his work colleague, but rather it said, Mrs. Fast, this is the General Hospital emergency room calling. Your husband's been in a car, no, I mean a bike accident. So imagine yourself, ladies in my shoes, and take a couple of seconds to process the news. Did you notice any changes within your body? And after listening to the message I heard, how would you feel? So I called some friends and headed to the hospital, checked in at the triage desk, and we waited. 1.5 hours later, I went to the triage nurse again, and she said to me, let's see if we can get you in to see your husband. I was taken in. He looked tired, sore, and he was grumpy. He said, let's go. I said, don't you need to speak to the doctor? And he said, I did. There she goes.
All right. Well.
In case you're wondering, I was not told anything. When we got home from the hospital, I was sent out to get ibuprofen. So the next day, we both went to work. I was working in British Columbia for the Burnaby Summer Games, and they were only 2 weeks away. They were for the entire province. So like for you folks, like a state games. Anyways, he also went off to work, and that's when he figured out things were really, really wrong. A task that should have taken 10 minutes wasn't even complete after an hour and a half. So as a result, within the next day or so, he called his GP. So that's our general practitioner, family doctor. And it wasn't until then that he was diagnosed with a concussion and mild traumatic brain injury. He also called a physiotherapist, massage therapist, dialed a claim to report the accident, and his aunt who had had a brain injury experience. I was excluded from a lot of this. He was making decisions left, right, and center and sign on with a lawyer, again, without including me. So this is just a quick glimpse of my husband prior to his accident. He loved life, was willing to try new things. He wanted to start a family, was wanting to build a kayak and thinking of things to put in a dream home as well. We first met playing water polo in Kamloops and swam with a master swim club during our dating time as well. Kamloops is a small town in British Columbia. If you look on a map, you'll kind of see it a little bit northeast, I guess, of Vancouver. So life changed dramatically for us. He was now having 2 naps a day, 2 hours at a time for the first couple of months. I had to husband-proof the house, similar to many of you that have probably baby-proofed a house as your child has started to crawl and then walk and be able to grab things. His hip went out of alignment, in and out of alignment, pardon me, for a good part of the first 20 years after his accident. It's only in the last couple of years that it's been closer to being realigned and function properly. And as you can see, he had a loss of appetite. And for someone who ate constantly, he had to force himself to eat. One of the big things is mental issues, memory loss. Like, I did a presentation for the insurance company that we had our claim with 2 years after, and I asked him, how long does it feel since your accident? And he said 8 months. So like that's 16 months of no memories. He would get really irritable and have a lack of concentration and focus. And one story I share is that he likes to cook. So he went and made rice pudding one day. So he put all of the ingredients into the pot, put the pot on the stove, turned the stove on. And then he left and went to the hospital to visit a friend. So when he came back, the house was like, we lived in a basement suite, and the house was like full of smoke. He couldn't see anything, but he had the wherewithal to get the pot off the stove, turn the oven off, or turn the stove off, get the pot outside. So by the time I got home, it was just really smoky smelling. At least I could see to the other end of the basement suite. But this is really the big, huge thing here is mental fatigue. Those things I've just mentioned fall under mental fatigue. But as someone that has not had a brain injury, when I got this definition from somebody or from a Facebook group just before Christmas, it's really starting to like hit home for me. And I'm just going to read it. I know you all can read it, but I just want to read it so hopefully the words sink in even more as you read it as well. So mental fatigue, mild brain injury is a real misnomer, as it conveys the idea that nothing much is a problem when quite the opposite is more often true. It's called mild because in fact, the mildly brain injured can work, walk, talk, eat, and dress independently, oftentimes driving a car, shopping, cooking, going to school, or even work. But this is the crucial paragraph. What the term fails to account for is the inherent limits of how often or for how long, and the all-important how consistently these activities can be performed. Even more elusive is the concept of how many of these daily activities can be done sequentially in a given day, as is normal in the lives of people who are not brain injured. The fatigue they feel defies description, going far beyond and far deeper than anything a non-brain injured person would consider profound exhaustion. And this is from Birgitta Johansson and Lars Roenbach. So it's really, really, I just find that that second point is where I really notice things, because my husband does all the top ones, but asking him to do a chore or a task consistently every week, I'm lucky if it gets done 2 weeks in a row. So this is the third view, which is beyond. It became a new way of life. This is another, another presentation all on its own, where we lost the court case and had to file bankruptcy. But I struggled with balancing a lot of these new roles: the financier, the taxi driver, the walkie-talkie daily planner, case manager, public relations person, provider, role model, garbage man, chief cook and bottle washer. I'm sure there's more. And you might laugh at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but I often felt like I was Snow White and I was living with the seven dwarfs. And if you end up working with people where they've had an injury or something, I often suggest using the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs checklist, because in my case, as a spouse, spouses might not even know how important what they say is, but it can be a great checklist, because you can say, is he or she sleepy or dopey, grumpy, bashful? Doc tells you what to do, or Mr. Fix-It, happy or sneezy. And it's just a great checklist, really informal, but it gives you a great idea where the person is coming from. So I just thought I'd throw in a couple of definitions of care. Care is a noun, a burdensome sense of responsibility, a cause for feeling concern, attentiveness, consideration, and kindness. And as a verb, it's connotations: to provide, to hand over, to dedicate, and do. And here's some great love quotes that I found. Love begins by taking care of the closest ones, the ones at home, Mother Teresa. And if you find it in your heart to care for somebody else, you will have succeeded, by Maya Angelou. And giving is an act of being charitable, philanthropic, benevolent, bountiful, which I know all of you ladies and gentlemen know. And here's a great quote from Wayne Dyer. When I chased after money, I never had enough. When I got my life on purpose and focused on giving of myself and everything that arrived into my life, then I was prosperous. I just wanted to share those. So caregivers are often the ones that are backstage, working to help the star performers, the people who have sustained a traumatic brain injury, shine. And here's another quote I came across. Caregivers go through more than they'll ever tell you. They give a lot and rarely have a social life. They can get sick and emotionally worn out. It's a lot for one person, and you will never know until you have walked the road of a caregiver. So here are some of my thoughts and concerns from I guess probably once I got on board, which was about 6 months after his accident, till now. I was striving to stay positive and be proactive throughout this experience. Feeling a sense of isolation, walking on eggshells, being scared. One of the things that I found is that I found I was isolated from other family members, from friends, and from others in a support group. And two comments that have stuck in my head from that time, from the support group, was one woman said, "Oh, your husband has a mild traumatic brain injury and your life will return to normal." Now, I'm not sure what normal is or was or ever will be. Her son had been injured as a 4-year-old. And the second one, the facilitator of all people, told me, well, you can always divorce your husband, but the others, they can't divorce their children. So it was really hard to watch my husband struggle, and still today watch him struggle with things that used to be easy. Oftentimes, and still to this day, will we ever be able to share in-depth conversations again without very frequent and long pauses? Or will we ever be able to look back on this time in our lives and say we made it and we beat the odds? I think the time just continues, and it's just all part of the journey. So what you learn along the journey is how you learn to beat the odds. And then I plunked this back in because I think it's really important to realize, like, when someone's been injured, and maybe it's just a man, I don't know, but the whole focus was, let's get him back to work. Once he's back to work, he's normal, there's no problems. And that was really problematic, because even now, 23 years later, because work is so important, that other things have fallen by the wayside, like family life, household chores, being able to enjoy his recreational interests, and even riding his bike. So what's become my reality is dealing with an individual who has a brain injury and who you love unconditionally is a constant and continual struggle in more than one way every day, almost 24 years later. It can be stressful, tiring, and a very anxious time in people's lives. So brain injury. A brain injury is a brain injury is a brain injury. The mild traumatic brain injury case isn't an open and shut book. There's many factors that need to be considered. It's not black and white, but rather gray in color. So this is him through the years. I thought I'd throw a couple slides in so you know that I do have a husband, and you know what he's up to. But he has a professional engineering designation. That took 10 years in the making, because he wasn't able to fulfill what he needed to do the written portion. And every time I would ask, I felt like it was starting World War III in my house. So I let it lie for quite a while. And then I asked again, and he was in the place or in the space where myself and another friend could help with the writing of it. So it took him 10 years, but he got it. He's a swimmer and triathlete at heart. And if you see this kind of glowy picture over here, and that's him swimming right there. He was the model for the wetsuit. So he got the wetsuit free. So as I said, he's a swimmer and triathlete at heart. He's competed 4 years as a swim director for a local triathlon club in Vancouver. He's competed in various triathlons and select races like the Challenge Penticton, which is the Ironman distance, and has completed the Bay Challenge, which is 11-kilometer swim, which is like about 6 miles, I guess. And then the 12K Skaha Lake swim, which is this one right here. So we swam, if you look on a map of British Columbia, he swam from Penticton to Okanagan Falls. So it was a 12K swim. And 23, I can't even read my own thing because I have all you guys popped up on the top there. So I would say now he's slowly coming out of denial. There's still communication, comprehension, and processing difficulties, an inability to prioritize and manage time in keeping with available energy levels, and can get really distracted. I would say, unfortunately, he's very apathetic towards music. We've moved provinces. He's working on a project to help automate a CNC machine. His most athletic ventures nowadays, or active adventures, is doing edged weapons and Tai Chi with Pacwa Canada, where he's a gray belt. And this is bolded because the mental fatigue still continues and his physical activity, unfortunately, has decreased. And how did I make it through? It was really funny when I was sharing this with a friend a long time ago. She said, well, why don't you put a page in and how you've done? And I'm like, they want to hear about me? And she said, yeah. So that's how that page came. So how did I make it through? With patience, perseverance, and determination. My faith played a huge role in it. And I sourced out ways to help us and find professionals that would listen to me. And interesting, I talked to a massage therapist a long time ago, and I said, I wonder how many caregivers or people in a similar situation to me actually get massages for them. And he figured there was actually very few. I always had the mindset we're getting through this. And I always thought I was taking time for myself. But in the last year or so, I've learned I wasn't, because now I am. So these are some of the physical symptoms through the years: rashes and eczema on my feet, and I still have eczema, but it's getting much better. Being constipated, having my organs stressed, not sleeping well, or waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to go back to sleep. I break into tears at the drop of a pin. I have nail fungus. My body's just basically out of whack. And it wasn't until I went to a naturopathic doctor where I had a free 15-minute consultation, and she said, I went in 15 minutes, came out in 15 minutes, and I went, wow, she understands what's going on. So that's when I started to realize that things were stressed. These are just some of the emotions that I had. And just a quick story. I interviewed with a former employer of mine in 2005. And as soon as I got out the door, I just started crying. And I had no idea that I was still so upset and emotional about the whole thing. I had worked for this guy shortly after Donald's accident. And so the owner knew of the accident, and he asked how my husband was doing. But I was just blown away by how pent up all the emotions were at that point in time. So 23 years later for me, I'm acknowledging my emotional journey. Yay me. I've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's and thyroiditis. So I'm really recognizing the need to work on decreasing the bad stress in my body and learning how to respond versus react. That is a lesson in progress. Learning to balance work and household duties. I'll tell you, I'd rather do laundry than washing dishes. Don't know about you ladies and gentlemen, but I would much rather do laundry. I'm embracing the value of serving and educating other caregivers and others as part of one's healing process. I'm continuing to look to create new and meaningful friendships, looking for ways to get involved in my local community. I've recently joined the Kiwanis Club here in London, and I too am a green belt in Tai Chi with Pacwa Canada. And this quote, I found this quote long ago by Karen Salmon, Salmonson, sorry. When I think back to who I was just a few years ago, I realize proudly how much my challenges have empowered me to grow. This is my lifeguard analogy. I grew up around the swimming pool and I was a lifeguard. But what I found is I was giving with no support. So I reached back into my lifeguard training for this analogy. That's really helped me. A lifeguard is a trained professional who has passed the National Lifeguard Service. They're trained professionals. So when the whistle blows and you go in, you know you have someone right behind you. Otherwise, no one as they have your back. When you have a bronze cross in your lifeguarding, it's a very different mentality. You are a lifesaver. So if you have to go save somebody, you make sure that you are safe before you try and save the person in distress. So in a family caregiving role, I realize I am the lifesaver versus the lifeguard. So I need to look after myself first in order to be a better person for the person that I'm caregiving for. So 2 things that I leave you with: take time for yourself during a tumultuous time, because it's crucial for healing and retrospection, especially during this pandemic. And whoever you are, wherever you are in life, be passionate in your chosen field or whatever you do. Create an atmosphere of connecting with the uninjured spouse, helping them on their journey so she or he can be the best lifesaver for their loved one. And here's a poem to leave you with: to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. So this is what I'm really excited about. I know I'm running a little bit short on time here, but I'm really excited because I'm starting a caregiving business from using my caregiving experiences as the basis. And it's not going out to be a caregiver for somebody, but empowering other caregivers, walking alongside other caregivers so that they can help their loved ones. I want to be at the policy table with insurance companies saying, hey, look, you have to switch how you're paying out settlements, because when there's an accident and someone's injured, it's the caregiver that's also paying as well. You need to be providing funds to that caregiver as well. And you might be wondering, well, what the heck is the name? Anyways, I have 2 really big cheerleaders in my life. And one was my dad, who passed away almost 4 years ago, and my mom. But my dad was always so concerned about my mom as a caregiver. And he was also on a mental health board for youth and adolescents, or youth and children. And that had a very special spot in his heart. And he was always a big cheerleader for me and whatever my husband and I were doing as well. So I want to be able to have a not-for-profit or a foundation as part of my business so that this money can go to helping other caregivers, especially with their mental health. So if any of you have any suggestions for me, my contact information will be on the next couple of pages. I would really appreciate that. His name was Peter Ivets, so hence PJ Ivets Foundation for Advocacy. And that's kind of a logo that we've come up with so far. So just in closing really quickly here, I use notes because there's so much to say. I just probably will forget everything or go way over time. But what I've learned is, and I'm still learning, that I'm not out in left field. I do have strengths. I love connecting to music. I have a lot of get up and go. And my first cousin is the Duracell bunny. So many people hold their hurt and pain under that darn rug. And I've learned that I need to not sweep things under the rug. I'm learning slowly to step back and learn to respond versus react. And as I come to a close, it's absolutely impossible to cover 24 years in 20 minutes. So this was just a snippet of here and there to hopefully give you some idea. Maybe this presentation will be new and enlightening for you. Maybe it will hit hard for you as you grapple with your own feelings and emotions. Wherever you are in life or whomever you may be, know I am in the thick of it and continue to acknowledge my feelings and emotions too. So if you have any questions or comments, by all means, let me know, please.
Thank you so much, Rosalyn. We really appreciate this powerful story. And for you to share that with us, oh my God, that's amazing. So we have, I'm sure there's a lot of people also learn a lot and really admire your courage. I really appreciate this, Rosalyn. And to me, I definitely see how you are a very authentic leader, how you definitely stay connected and stay committed to your family, but really to be as a caregiver. Many people, they don't know the struggle, but definitely thank you for sharing your story with us. Our question for you is, can you share some of the mental stages or your mindset? Because I know you mentioned that in your presentation. Can you talk to us about in these 24 years, later, what did you learn that you did not know from the beginning? How was your mindset? If you can just talk about that process, that would be great.
I have to think about that for a sec, but I don't, when I think about my mindset, I've always been pretty positive, but I might come across sometimes as negative, but I'm pretty positive, and I'm always looking to connect people with resources. I just give you an example right now is that I met someone on Facebook who is really struggling helping her husband, and like they're only like a year into it. And I don't know this person from, I know this person as much as I know any of a lot of you. And my mind says, well, I'm going to help you. I don't know how I can help you, but I'm going to help you. And so I just got an email just before I started talking from someone that I had sent an email to help this lady. So I had to get back to this lady and say, here, can I get this information and I'll pass it on, and then maybe they can help you. Another friend of mine, I said, her husband had an accident. And I said, well, how can I help you? Or I said, let me know if I can help you. She goes, well, how can you help me? I said, well, I don't know, but ask and I'll do what I can. And I told her about this one book that I had bought. And she used that book. She was a social worker by trade. And she created a report for an insurance, like a review for her husband to get certain monies. And she took that book, she took symptoms from that book, put it into a report, sat around the table with these doctors and insurance people. And they said, okay, we've finally given our reports and everything. And she said, wait, I have a report. She goes, you have a report? Yeah. So she handed it out, and it was her work that got him deemed what was called catastrophic, so he could get more monies for rehabilitation and for caregiving. So my mindset is like, let's go, let's try it. We'll see what's there. So I'm really kind of a brainstormer. I'm very creative by trade, but I end up doing a lot of the details. So I think it's just really like the sky's the limit. Let's see what we can do. And I've never been stopped. Like my dad never stopped me from like, well, go ahead and try. He never stopped me. But I think it also comes down to, and then I just realized as I was talking, it came down to the fact that when I was 13, turning 14, we lived in a small town in British Columbia. And my dad started a swim club with another gentleman. And he took my brother, who's way more athletic than me. And I wondered, well, how come I'm not going? And I asked him, and I don't really remember what he said, but he took me. I was always the academic kid in the household. And I couldn't swim like worth beans at all. But I was like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna do this. And I swam for about 6 or 7 years. And I still swim now. Obviously, that's how I met my husband. But I learned to break things down to manageable chunks. And I wasn't, people teased me, people put me down, but I was not going to give up. And I guess that's kind of where my mindset comes from. But because swimming has taught me so much in life. I never became an Olympic swimmer, but it allowed me to do a lot of things in life, I think.
Yes, wow, that's amazing. And to me, you really are a problem solver. That's why people are reaching out to you. So thank you so much for really sharing this powerful story with us. We will definitely stay connected with you and do whatever we can be able to support you, because definitely we need to support one another, and your voice really matters, and you're doing an amazing work. Thank you so much, Rosalyn.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you, Rosalyn. Thank you for this. Wow. I was just listening, and like I said, we don't want to cry, but you said it earlier. I shake my head. So Thank you for sharing everything that Janine just asked you. I wanted to ask the same question, but I love the way you supported your husband and continue supporting. It's just amazing. And Mrs. Nancy put something on the
Yeah, I just saw that.
the chat as well. And thank you all. I know how it feels when someone is sick. I know how it feels. So thank you for this message you just put out there. And back to you, Janine.
All right, thank you so much. That was our first speaker. She definitely gave us a good nugget about self-care. You always need to be committed and be there to be able to raise your voice when it's needed. So her advocacy really inspired us this morning. Thank you so much, Coach President. We really, really appreciate that. Now we are going to go to our second speaker, which is Coach Nancy. Coach Nancy,
Yes,
you're on the floor.
welcome.
Well, good afternoon. And I'm going to share a message on the journey of the entrepreneur. And this week I actually celebrated 25 years of being an entrepreneur. Monday was my 25th anniversary. So I praise God for that. Wow. So this week is 25 years. It has been, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm still on the journey, and I'm still loving it because I'm doing what God has called me to do. So I coin myself as a marketplace evangelist because I'm also an ordained minister, but I do training and coaching across the country, and I'm glad to be able to share a brief message. And so what I've learned, the foundation in terms of the journey of the entrepreneur, for me, is based and grounded on faith, period. I tell people who are coming out, new entrepreneurs, if you don't have faith to be able to do what you need to do, or if you're not sure that God called you for this, then you will probably at some point in time get off track, because this is not like a cakewalk. It's not like every day is just peaches and cream. I love what I do. I'm thankful for loving and walking in my purpose, but it is a faith walk. So I broke down the word faith. And I'm gonna tell you some of the things that is necessary as an entrepreneur, using faith as the acronym, because you can remember that will help you. And the first one is that you have to have laser beam focus. Because as an entrepreneur, when you come out, many times you will start out with one aspect, and then somebody will throw something else and say, you're good at this. And I don't know about other people, but I have been in a lot of businesses. But the one I'm in now is the one I actually realized this is what I love to do. I have sold cosmetics, real estate, all those other things in the past, but it was not what I love doing. And if you don't love what you're doing, it's work. And when you become an entrepreneur, you want to do exactly what you love doing. And so if you don't love it, then why are you doing it? And if you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. So when I'm working, when I'm speaking, I'm not working, I'm having fun. Having a good, you have to make sure that it's what it's your purpose. I have to tell people, when your purpose and your passion connect, you walk in your destiny. And so everyone should be striving for that destiny and realizing everyone is not called to be an entrepreneur. That is real. Mm-hmm. You cannot, if you need to have a steady check every time for every Friday or every other Friday, then probably being an entrepreneur is probably not going to be the thing for you, because there are times where your invoice will get lost. People will delay paying you. There's all kinds of things. There's times people don't want to pay you. So there's all these things that happen. But if your focus is laser beam, what I've learned finally after many years is that I stay true to what I do. People bring me other ideas about you could be good at this, you could do this. I said, no, it is not tied to what I'm doing in terms of speaking and coaching and helping people and organizations. I'm not interested, because people will try to get you working their agenda, but you have to be true to what your agenda is and what God has called you to. So you have to have laser beam focus and be willing to say the 2-letter word no.
Yes.
Because what I found, sometimes we say, yes, 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 we get it. Yes, I can do this. And so you're all these places doing all these things. And again, you're not taking care of you. You can't pour from an empty cup. Mm-mm. And so what has to happen, one of the guests I had on a show that I do in the Atlanta area, because I'm in the Atlanta area, is that I interviewed a gentleman on my show, and he said, what we talk about is your cup half full or half empty. He said, what you really want to make sure is your cup is overflowing, that you're pouring from your saucer. I said, oh, that is good. He said, you want to have so much overflow and abundance that you're pouring from your saucer, so it's just rolling out. That's where you want to be, but you have to have the self-care. You have to be focused and be willing to say no to sometimes other people's agenda, because it doesn't line up with your agenda. So I've learned how. I tell people no is just next opportunity. So I've gotten good at saying no, because there are times people will say, you'd be so wonderful. There'll be times people come and ask me to do a program for them or speak someplace. And because it doesn't align with my goals, my principles, and who I am, it's not a good fit. I simply say, no, I'll pass, because I've learned that if, like when Janine approached me, it just felt good, felt right. So I'm led of the spirit. I'm a spirit-led woman. So if it doesn't feel right, I don't care. All money's not good money.
Mm-hmm.
And every assignment that comes to you is not the one that God has called you to walk in.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm willing to pass it on to somebody else. This is not lining up with me, so I need to pass this to somebody else, because that's just the way I operate. So it's important to have laser beam focus. And the other F I would say is to be fearless, because you have to be fearless as an entrepreneur. You have to realize where there is, because faith is the absence of fear. So you have to be fearless. You have to jump and know that the net will appear. You have to call people. You have to get used to being rejected. That was one of the first things I had to learn as an entrepreneur that kind of hurt my feelings initially when I started out, because people sometimes will reject you, and they didn't reject you nicely. They would just reject you and you're like, oh, and I realized it's not personal. It's never personal. It's just that what I was offering, they didn't need. And so you have to get your feelings out of it and just keep dialing, asking for referrals, doing what you have to do, but you have to become fearless in your walk as an entrepreneur. So you have to have the focus, you gotta be fearless. So the A is you have to have the right attitude. And one thing you have to check really quickly are people around you who are toxic, people who are spewing negative thoughts. And one of the first lesson I actually learned as an entrepreneur, when I left corporate, I got a 6-month assignment to do training on the East Coast. And I was so excited because I had 6 months of guaranteed income. But about halfway through the 6 months of doing this program, this training, I realized at the end of the next 3 months, if I didn't have some business, I was going to have to possibly go back to work in corporate America. And I really kind of liked the entrepreneurial. I was like, I'm kind of liking this, you know, where I get to travel. I mean, there's just a lot of perks to it. There's a lot of perks to being an entrepreneur, but there are also some areas you just have to grow and just pray your way through them. So about halfway through, I realized this is going to be interesting. So I started calling my corporate friends and saying, hey, I realize now that if I don't get some additional business, that I may have to come back and work a 9 to 5. So their response to me was, girl, you know, quit. Yes, that's okay. You can come back and get your job. Don't worry about it. You have all these skills. You can get another job. I'm like, so I was like, I wasn't looking for that. I wanted someone to encourage me. And what I realized is that if you're not an entrepreneur, if you've not walked that walk, you've not walked that faith walk, if you've not walked the journey of being self-employed, you can't relate to the struggle sometimes. You can't relate to people being delaying in terms of getting back with you. They'll say, I want to do this program next week. Then they say, you know what, we're going to do it in December. You're like, I had to ride the tide of 9/11 when 9/11 happened. I lost so much money in one day. Things that happened it wasn't anything I did. It was just what happened in the world. So the things that happen in the world impact us as business owners, because when people think about making cutbacks, sometimes the first thing they do is they cut back on training and development.
Mm-hmm.
They cut back sometimes on coaching, the soft skills that are really essential skills, because if you don't know how to apply that emotional intelligence, how to relate to people, how to talk to people, how to lead people, not manage them. You lead people, you manage things, then you're going to miss it. So you have to have the soft skills, which are essential skills. But I realized you have to have the right attitude. So I realized my friends loved me and they were good people. They just didn't understand. So I realized I need to talk to entrepreneurs when I'm going through a struggle. When I'm going through a valley experience, I need to talk to people who will encourage me to keep going and not quit, because that's that walk. You have to just keep going, putting one foot in front of the other. They meant well, but they just did not understand. So I realized at that point, when I need guidance, when I need some insight, I go to like entrepreneurial friends. I have other people that I talk to, but my entrepreneurial struggles sometimes, even the successes, I will share whatever I need to share, but sometimes they can't relate to it because they're in a different space. The entrepreneurial path is a different walk.
Mm-hmm.
9 to 5, it just is. And we're needed, everyone is not an entrepreneur, so I applaud that. I have friends who say, I cannot do what you do because I need to get my check every Friday at the same time. That's just who you are. I love it. I love what I do. So you have to have the right attitude. So you have to think positive. So all around my office, there are positive quotes, there's scripture. Wherever I look in my office, I keep the word before me, positive affirmations. I've done multiple books on inspirational things. I love inspiring people, and you have to learn how to inspire yourself. But it's important, you have to have the right attitude. So I generate a positive attitude. God has given me the gift of energy, the gift of being able to connect and make people feel engaging and wanting to talk to me. And as a coach, you get a chance to do it. Some of you are coaches, you get a chance to really get into people's lives when you're a coach and help them. Mm-hmm. And so the second A is authenticity. You can be a first-rate you or second-rate somebody else. One of my Nancy isms is do you because everybody else is taken.
Yes.
And so people, sometimes you watch, and sometimes the downside is that as an entrepreneur, you're on social media platforms and you're reading about other people's lives. And you start comparing yourself. Sometimes you're comparing your chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 15. And so what they have learned is very different. So where they are in their walk is very different from where you are. And so we have to get past the point of comparison. And sometimes you have to get off social media for a while, because you'll find yourself looking at other people's lives. And sometimes what you see is not always real.
Mhm.
People can create whatever world they want to on social media. And people do, they have their own story, their own TV show. They're promoting whatever they want to promote. Everything is wonderful. It's glorious. I have no issues. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you've been an entrepreneur for longer than a week, you've had some struggles at some point. You have had seasons of famine. You've had seasons of struggle. You've had seasons of where you've been in the valley.
Mhm.
But when you come out, you come to the mountaintop. No test, no testimony. No mess, no message. See, it's all you. As you're walking through it, God is working things out of you to prepare you for your next level. And so you can come back and you can share that with other people. So it's important. You have to make sure that you're authentically who you are. You're special. You're unique. There's nobody else quite like you. So whatever God gave you, it's yours. So you have to walk in. You have to be true to who you are. Take what other people might be doing, but make it your own. There's nothing wrong with watching what people do in terms of you, like they did this, they did that. There's nothing wrong with that. But being true to who you are, being authentically who you are. This is who I'm putting your spin on it. I tell people say I'm a comedian when I tell some of my stories in my workshops and stuff. I said, I am not a comedian. I can't remember a joke. So if I tell something, it's just my life. It's something that's happened in my life that I'm just sharing that's funny, because I have had something that's happened to me that is just funny. And so people remember that, but people remember stories. And so
Yes.
I love telling stories. People remember stories because there's always a lesson in the story. But so the A is having the right attitude and being authentic with who you are, authenticity. The I is being innovative. You have to not think outside the box. I tell you, you have to throw the box away.
Wow.
Because when you think outside the box, what happens when things get tough, you go back inside the box. But if you throw the box away, you are forced to find a new way, a new idea, a new concept. And sometimes talking to people that you know you trust, having your trusted advisors. Everyone should have trusted advisors. They should have trusted advisors. People who will tell you you're doing a great job, but who will also tell you that idea is messed up. You don't want people who are just your yes people around you. I want people who are going to challenge me and say, that won't work. Not the way you're trying to do it. So you want to have people that will be honest with you, but who are also your greatest cheerleaders. That's your tribe. That's your squad. That's whatever you want to call them. Your BSS. That's all a part of it. So recognizing that it is important that we have to come to grips with, we're each other's keeper. We help each other out. We help and open the door for other people. But you have to be innovative. You have to be asking, what else can I do? How can I do it? And sometimes you are too close to it. You can't see the frame when you're in the picture. So sometimes you have to ask people for help because you're too close to it. But you want to be innovative. You want to be looking for ways of doing things in a different way. And I think certainly the pandemic caused all of us to do the P word, to pivot. We all had to pivot suddenly because God put the world on pause. And so we had to figure out different ways of doing things, repackaging, repurposing different things. So we had to become innovative. And the second part of the I is you have to inspire yourself. I mentioned that earlier. You have to inspire yourself. As David did in the Bible, sometimes he had to encourage himself. Sometimes you're going to have to inspire yourself. Because whoever you want to talk to is not going to be around, they're not available. You have to just inspire yourself to say, I can do this. You have to have affirmations. I can do this. I will do this. I have stuff on my refrigerator, on my bathroom mirror, in my office, in every part of my house. There is something to remind me that I'm on an assignment. That I know this is what I was called to do. And I am so privileged and honored and thankful to be able to do it. So the I is innovation and inspire yourself. The T is having the tenacity. That's having that stick-to-itiveness, to not quit, to not give up. Because there are times, I will tell you, there were times on this journey, I did part. I never quit, but I call them my lifetime TV days. I don't know if you've ever had those, when you've done all these things, nothing's happening. You've sent these letters out, you've done this, and stuff is just not happening. So I would actually have lifetime TV days where I would be on the sofa watching Lifetime movies and answer the phone if it rang, like I was at work. And what I realized when I would have those lifetime parking days is that I was not in faith and God was not there. He's always there, but he was not. He doesn't come to unbelief parties. So I was just delaying what God was going to do when I had my parking days. And sometimes I'll just be discouraged because the walk is sometimes you get discouraged. That is part of it. You get discouraged, but you have to get back up, put your big girl stuff on and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you would call people, and sometimes you're in a place where God doesn't want you to call anybody except call him.
Yes.
He wants you to talk to him. He has you in that place. Okay, talk to me. I am here for you. I will direct you. I gave you the idea. If he gives you the vision, he will give you the provision. And so there are times you just have to realize you have to have the tenacity. You have to have the courage to keep going, even in the midst of things not working out the way you want them, even in the midst of things not happening the way they should, even in the midst of like, I feel so discouraged. You just have to keep going, keep dialing those numbers, keep making those calls, keep going out there looking for ways to brand, market, and do your thing, to not give up, to look for ways to how do I collaborate with other people? Because that's what this pivot, that's what the pandemic did. It really calls us now to learn how to collaborate and to pivot and work with other people. Because you can't do this alone. You really need other people. So it's important that we have to recognize that it is important to have the courage. As Joshua was told, be strong and of good courage. I'm encouraging you, if you're an entrepreneur out here, be courageous because the battle is real. But what God is giving you as your vision to do is also real. So don't quit. Just know, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Because when you continue to walk in faith, which is the foundation of everything we're talking about, you will be amazed. God will send people into your life to bless you, to help you get to that next level. The second T is being totally committed. That means you're committed no matter what. You are totally committed to getting done. You don't care if there are times. I was working on a grant a few weeks ago, and it was an opportunity to get some money. You know, you get it to apply. You don't know if you're going to get it or not, but if you don't apply, you won't get it. So in the middle of the grant, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, Eastern time, I'm up working on this grant. And I'm 70% of the way completing the grant. And it says, you need to upload a video. I'm like, what? So technology is not my strong suit. I can do it, but it's not my strongest suit. I'm like, upload a video. And they said, you got to put it in this certain format. And I was like, I'm 70% of the way complete this. And if I stop, they tell you, if you stop, you have to start all over again. So I said, okay, I'm not going to bed till I get this resolved. I said, Holy Spirit, you've given me all knowledge, everything that's inside of me. So help me get this done. So at 4:00 a.m., it was complete. That's the life of an entrepreneur. Yes. That courage, that tenacity. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to bed till this is done. And I got up early that morning. There are times you will have short nights and early mornings. That's all a part of it. You got to be willing, you got to be invested. You work hard in your own business and you work for anybody else, but it's all good. It's all wonderful. So I'm saying, if you think you're going to come and be an entrepreneur and say, well, I'm going to end at 6:00 today, there will be days you will end at 6:00. And you do have to balance out. You do have to self-care. You do have to put boundaries. I do put boundaries. There are times I don't do stuff. There's something I just like this Saturday, I have a free Saturday. I'm like so excited. I'm like, I don't have any plans, nothing to do. I'm going to go shopping. So I'm going to do something I want to do. So I set boundaries because it's important to do that. So that's the T. That's the second part, is the tenacity and totally committed. And the H is having the humility to realize when you miss it, when you mess up. Humble yourself. When you miss a mark, when you mess up, just walk in humility. That's something that when you do that, the doors open up for you, because the Bible says, he who humbles himself shall be exalted. So it's having the humility to say, you know, I missed it, I messed up, or I said this to you, I shouldn't have said that. You were trying to give me some good feedback, I got upset. Just having humility to say, hey, I'm sorry, forgive me. There's power in forgiveness. You don't forgive people for them, you forgive people for yourself to get free. So that's a gift we all, and even in the literature now, you're seeing more stuff on articles on LinkedIn around humility, empathy, compassion, things that were not out there 10 years ago. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with people that are emotional beings. Even we're dealing with entrepreneurs, we're trying to get clients, they're emotional. We have emotions. So you got to know how to appeal to their emotional needs, how to address that. And then the second part of that is you got to have the heart to not quit. You got to have the heart to not quit. You just got to keep going. That heart, again, if you know that you're doing what God called you to do, the heart is there. You won't quit. You won't stop. You just keep going because you know you're walking in your purpose. You can smile. You may be hurting on the inside. I don't have that contract yet, but I know it's coming. I'm a million. I'm walking in my greatness. I know God is coming. Whatever it is, you have to know for sure that God called you to do this, because if he is called you, he's going to equip you, give you everything you need. He will send the people into your life to help you get to where you need to get to. But you always have to be willing to pay it forward. How do I pay it forward? How do I be a blessing to another person? How do I pay it forward? How can I be the answer to someone's prayer today? That's all important for us. So that is the foundation. Faith was the foundation, which means, as I said, that's the foundation for being an entrepreneur. For me, that has been the thing that I have increased my faith. And I still have to increase it more, but I have increased it from 25 years ago. Because I've learned that it is a faith walk, it is a faith journey, but I love every step of it. And I'm looking for another 25 years to go. So whatever God says. So
Yes.
I'm just gonna go back over the acronym again. F, the focus and fearless. The A, having the right attitude and authenticity. The I, being innovative and inspiring yourself. The T, having the tenacity and being totally committed. The H is having the ability to be humility and having the heart for what you need to do. So that is what I want to just encourage you on the journey of the entrepreneur. It's real, it's vibrant, it's lovely. I love it. And if you get into it, you'll love it too, if you're walking in your purpose. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Coach Nancy. That was amazing. Thank you for all these great nuggets. Wow.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Our question to you, Coach Nancy, is can you also share some of the people who inspire you along your journey? Because I'm sure you have a tribe, like you mentioned, but can you talk about some of the people who push you, encourage you in your own personal journey?
Oh, well, my mom, before she passed, and again, I was her caregiver. So when Rosalyn was talking, I could certainly identify with being a caregiver, but she was my cheerleader. She was just my advocate. Whatever I did, she was so elated. She was just so proud of her daughter. Even though when I got ready to leave corporate, she was like, "You're leaving your good corporate job to be an entrepreneur?" I said, "It's well. God has said it's okay." Because she didn't understand in her era, having a good corporate job was like you've arrived.
Yeah.
And so I told her she was my greatest cheerleader. And then we have a mastermind group that we get together every month, once a month. We just share ideas. It's 4 women. We wrote a book together, and we share and encourage each other. And we basically share ideas. And I have other mastermind mini groups that I meet with people that we just pour into each other. We help each other, because you can't sometimes see, again, you can't see the frame when you're in the picture. And sometimes you need people who have different skill sets. So I've aligned myself with people who have skill sets that are not like mine, because technology is not my strongest suit. I can do it, but I have people that I am connected with that when I need technology, I call on them. I have a CPA, someone who does my taxes. I have people in different roles. There are things I don't do. So that's all a part of my squad, the people that support me, because you can't be all things to all people. One thing I learned early on as a speaker and a trainer is that you can train and you can research any topic you want to and speak on it and be knowledgeable and do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing that when I first started out. Whatever you wanted, I was speaking on. Then I realized I didn't like some topics. I'm like, I didn't leave corporate to do stuff I don't like. So I realized, no, if I don't like doing the topic, I'm going to give it to somebody else on my team to do, and they can do it. But I just have a group of people in terms of that are in my church. That I have as being a minister, I have a strong support there. The support there is amazing. But I also have other groups, other women groups, and other just men who are part of my circle who support me. And so I have a tremendous network of people in different categories that help me and encourage me. But at the end of the day, God keeps me grounded, because I always look, okay, what am I supposed to do? I always want to make sure that I'm doing what he's telling me to do. So I have to be in tune to hear his voice in all of this. So as a marketplace evangelist, I tell people I evangelize Jesus in the marketplace in many ways.
Yeah, well, so on your work as an authentic leader, Coach Nancy, did you have to bless people and release people? If you did, please, can you share with us?
I had to, I've blessed a whole lot of people. Like, I'm having a women's conference next Thursday, which I told Janine I want her to come, and I'll invite a few of you to it this next Thursday. I put it in the chat box, but it's called Transforming Women Entrepreneurs. The theme is Fierce, Focused, Faithful, Women Winning in 2021. It's our 13th year of doing the event. This is our first year doing it virtual, because we've always done it in person, but this year, because of the pandemic, we're doing it virtually. So that's next Thursday, this very time, from 9 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. But I blessed a lot of people. I sow seed into a lot of people's lives. I do a lot of free programs. Now, understand 95% of what I do is paid, but I do a lot in terms of sometimes it's with youth. When I coach some people, because God says to coach them for free. So there are things I sow into people's lives. I invite people to my conferences sometimes, and they don't have to pay. So I'm always sowing, because you always want to be sowing. You want to have seed in the ground. Yes. But there's times I've had to let people go, because I'm an eagle, and eagles only hang with other eagles. They don't hang with bluebirds, redbirds, pelicans. And sometimes people can't go where you're going because they don't want to. And so if you try to pull them along, you don't get to your destiny. So I had to learn. There was a couple of friends of mine, I didn't release them. God moved them out of my life, and they had been with me for a long time. And how they just kind of just fell out. They just fell out. of my life, but God moved them because where he was taking me, they couldn't go. So he did the moving. So when he wants to move some people, he will craft a way that they will just be out of your life. But there have been people I have basically said, I love you to life, but where I'm headed, you're not going. So, you know, I just distance myself because if you can't, I can't run with pelicans when I'm an eagle.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Nancy.
So
Wow.
that is real. So I just tell people, so you have to sometimes where you're going, people see where you're headed and they're not desiring to go, then that's fine. Everyone doesn't want to go where I'm going. That's fine. I get that. But eagles only hang with other eagles. And when you realize you're an eagle, you want to surround yourself with eagle-minded people.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And oh my goodness, Janine, wait, and everything you said, I'm like, yes, I receive it and I receive it. And now I'm sure everyone here also receive it. So thank you, Dr. Nancy, for joining. I was busy collecting your number and email and everything on my phone. So I will get in contact. And
Do that.
we have our next speaker. She's my auntie, my mentor for a long time, a woman that I always look after, and I can message in the middle of the night and she reply back. And the last minute, I'm like, auntie, I'm doing this, but you gotta be there to speak and to motivate and to share all your nuggets to people. And she said, anything for you, my dear. That warmed my heart that night. And she's here. You all join me to welcome Dr. Remi, the powerful mentor behind everything I do today, one of them as well. Back to you, Janine, before you present Dr. Remi, please.
Thank you so much. We are so blessed to have some wonderful, great change makers, ladies this morning that we started since Tuesday. Every single day. I hope you are taking notes because Coach Nancy really give us some very good nugget. And we are about to listen more to also to Dr. Remi. So thank you so much, Coach Sandra, for connecting us with one of your mentors. And we are ready to hear the great message.
Thank you so very much for this opportunity. Am I allowed to share my PowerPoint or should I just, if you enable me real quick?
I'll put to you
Absolutely,
as a co-host. Yes.
Okay, so I can just, okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Lewis. Oh my goodness, you were rocking those points. My goodness, I'm like, wait a minute. I was already blessed. So I could go home right now. Thank you for your great words of encouragement and your practicality to your word. That was very meaningful to me as a person, as a business person, and as a coach. Thank you. Great to hear your words of inspiration. My name is Remi Duyele, and Sandra, as always, you are amazing. Thank you so much for this platform. Thank you for your love, and I'm so glad to see what you're doing and your team, your intentionality to paying it forward inspires me as an individual. So thanks for this platform. And my name is Remi Duyele. My background goes to being a former vice president with Bank of America for so many years, for 17 years, before I jumped the ship and decided to be an entrepreneur. And in that journey, corporate America really was where my pain turned to purpose. It was not a fun experience in the fact that as an individual, you have people who want to define who you are, but only God can define who you are. And if you let people do it, they will try, but they won't succeed. So I am a certified trainer, speaker, coach, and I was trained by Les Brown, John Maxwell, Jim Rohn. After my corporate pursuit, I realized that I wanted to be in the developmental space to see how to enable people to find their voice, find their passion, and live in purpose. And I knew that my experience in corporate America alone might not do it. So I went and submitted myself under the leadership and training of such mentors that has helped me to find my voice and to keep me in check. I'm also the author of Perseverance, a book that is called Perseverance, Winning Key to Your Destiny. And the reason for this is I believe in inclusion. And I believe that when you persevere, there's no one that can stop you when you have a process of what you're doing. Born in Nigeria, I've been in America for 37 years, rose from teller to vice president, and also a commissioner in my state. So talking about the struggles. Every day I tell people, you will see some struggles because those struggles might be painful and they're taking you to your purpose. For me, the struggles I saw and I still see sometimes, depending on what lane I'm going and how ego natured I want to engage my network, I definitely have to deal with some of those things practically every other day. African, Black, non-American, female, thick Nigerian accent. Those were things I faced in corporate America, but guess what? I rose with an MBA from teller to vice president and still shattered the glass ceiling and did a lot of things in the corporate and community space. I don't say this to kind of impress you, but to impress upon you that there's nothing and no one that can stop your greatness if you're ready to walk at it. So turning your pain into purpose. First of all, you have to validate your experiences. What are your experiences? If I didn't tell you my experience, you wouldn't know, because our experiences don't always show on LinkedIn. You might see all the glory. The story doesn't always show 100% on LinkedIn. You see this, you see the glory, but the story might take some painful experiences. So you have to validate your experiences, and constantly I make sure I validate my experience. I know what I know. I don't know what you know, but I know what I know. And what I know, I will embrace it, and I'm ready to teach other people. But you would not make me less than what I know I know. I mean, I've been a banker, vice president of a bank, retail, commercial, business banking. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a teacher. I'm a teacher now. I'm a professor at a university, but I'm not like a teacher who can say they've been in it for a while. So you have to know your experiences, and you have to disassociate your hurt from your personhood. Any hurt you're dealing with, when people are thinking, oh, your accent is thick, or you're African, or they're looking at you funny, don't take it like it's you. It's on them. They're ignorant sometimes, and with all due respect, it's not to insult anybody. Some people are ignorant till you show them knowledge, and you do that through love and caring. Focus on the solutions, not the problems. The problems are always going to come. I have not seen any good thing that has not come with problems. I have not. Because it's going to be results oriented, you have to go through the pain. The pain of getting there might be problematic, but you know the end result will be good. Look forward, look towards your future, not your past. Don't always sit on your past glory. I introduced myself as a former vice president, but there's so many new things that the Lord has enabled me to do that I keep doing. And some days I sit and get calls from anybody that's all buddies, and I'm like, wait a minute. So that's what happens when you constantly focus on building yourself. Create your portfolio. What do you have to offer the world? Not just to show off. What impact are you making? When you validate your experiences, you accept what has caused you pain. Of course, I accepted that people had problems with my 4 strikes, Black, female, Nigerian accent, but those strikes make me to be stronger, because I realized that no matter how they try to box me, I always used an inner drive of getting better. I knew that I didn't like to speak. I went and got the best to train me, Les Brown. It cost a few dollars, but it was worth it. And it's a network that I enjoy till today. So when you are in your painful situation, always understand that that is not your permanent boss stop. It's just a process. But if you are not seeing it as a process, you're going to take it personal. So you want to immediately wear your experiences back. The other day I was talking to someone, there's some transaction I was doing. I'm new to that area. And the way they were making it look, they made it look like it was so totally impossible. Of course, it wasn't easy on my end because it's new, but I immediately had to bring back my strength and my previous experiences and how I took over things that I didn't even know then. So as soon as I did that and I called them to order, they immediately came back to reality and know that you can't know everything. And it's technology. I'm not a techie, but I'm blessed with people who can support my technology drive. And sometimes I have to do it by force because there's nobody right there. And in those cases, it might be a slow pace. You can now begin to heal from the wounds of the past. Once you see where you're going, whatever people are doing, sometimes I say, Father, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. You try to buck somebody, that's your loss. If you don't see the value someone is carrying, that's your loss. Don't go all out there trying to get back at them to show them. Don't worry about, just do you and be consistent with what you're doing. Trust me, people are watching. Everybody is watching, but you yourself, because all you're doing is building and playing it forward, and people are coming and they want to be part of you. Everybody wants to associate with success, but success is a journey. As long as you know it's not a destination, don't ever feel all puffed up and say, oh, I've arrived because I now have this person as a connection. Hell no, excuse my French. That's just the beginning. That's the more reason to work hard, because those big names too are looking for people to add value. They're human just like you and I. So disassociate yourself from your heart. Don't take it personal. Don't think, oh, it's because I'm this. Oh, they're laughing at me because I have an accent. So what? I have an accent. That's part of me. So what? I'm Black. So what? I'm a female. So what? I'm Nigerian. That's my value proposition. So you have to embrace whatever that is that people look at that make them to think of you as a second-class citizen, because absolutely no one is a second-class citizen. You spent 9 months in your mother's womb like I did, and you were burned by a woman. So all of that makes us all equal, but how we now apply ourselves is the next. Focus on the solutions, not your problems. Like I said, the problems will come. When you focus on the solution, you're going to think of creative and authentic things that will help you to get over such a challenge, because there's no way there won't be problems. And guess what? Problems is what makes us to make money. It's when you can solve people's problems, right? That's when you're going to have them have a smile on their face, and they're going to write a check and say, ding, 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 here, Sandra, here, here is Dr. Lewis, and come and speak at my platform. And they write the check, and bingo, you smile, you do your thing, you leave. Look towards the future, not your past. Your past is your past. It's part of your future, but don't dwell on it. Use it as a way to pivot, to know you can overcome because you did it before. God will enable you to do it again. And always know that you have a superior being, which is Almighty God, whoever your God is. Don't put your faith on any man. The best of men will fail you. No man is perfect. We are all building. We are all work in progress. So really, we can all act like there's nothing going on but good, but we know it. When you dig deep, there's some things going on. There's some things that's keeping you up at night, and you know that you're going to wake up in the morning and still be bright and cheery. Don't take it personal. Create your portfolio. Do some self-reflection and ask yourself how every obstacle you have overcome has contributed to making you the person you are today. When you take that stuff, guys, my sisters, you will find out that, wow, you have been through and you've been through, and it will give you more strength to want to do more. Doing this will give you some practical insight to using the skills, those skills that you've learned, how you used it, how did you deal with those hard customers. When I was in corporate America, I had customers that would come to my office. They would say, I want to see the manager. And they would say, it's me. And one came to me and said, go back to your mother, F word, Africa, for nothing. Because they just wanted to see somebody else. And unfortunately, it was me. But I didn't take it personal. Of course, I was teary. My team took me back and I calmed down, and they said, oh, and he came back and they said, oh, Remi, the customer came back for you. I'm like, okay, now is he going to beat me up? Because I don't know what else he's coming in for. I was still trying to get over that emotional hurt. But I know my colleague will now bring me to arm's way. He came, he said, you know what, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I had a bad day with my wife. You were the first person I came and saw in the bank. And I've seen you I was in my 20s. He said, I've been watching you. You're such a hard worker, blah, blah, blah. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get out angry at you. I was like, can you imagine? Because I really wanted to tell him where he belonged. But I looked at the pictures of my 2 baby children, which I still needed to support for 18 to 21 years. I knew I couldn't dare to open my big mouth to say anything, or I would have been fired before he came back. Because the customers are always right. In my own corporate America, Bank of America, we have to, and especially because I was being a vice president, I got to do the extra stuff to be findable. Remember my 4 strikes. So when he said that, I was like, I understand. And I always know people have underlying issues. So when people are having issues, it's not about you. When they have a mood change, forget it's about you. They've got their own stuff cooking. And maybe what is cooking, the smell is not so aromatic. They don't like the smell. So right there and then they're thinking, okay, now let's bring misery likes company. So now you key into that and you begin to use your valuable words on nonsensical and irrelevant people, you've just brought yourself low. Like Hillary said, when they go low, we go high. You just have to take a deep breath and ensure that your words are scarce. When I'm angry, you will not hear a word from me, because that's the way the Lord has blessed me to be able to handle my anger, because I have a lot of words in my mouth. But the Holy Spirit makes me to be silent. So when I go into dead silence in my home, my husband is thinking, okay, what's going on? The kids are wondering what's cooking now. Because I have so much, then I will compose myself during those quiet moments and be able to bring my points out. So I never show up in an animalistic way that somebody will see me going all out and they might never see me in my real Remi space. All they could remember is that anger mode. So remember that whatever people are doing or what you're perceiving, it's not about you. Don't take it personal. So in conclusion, I know I was given 15 minutes. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Validate your experiences. I said it. Your experiences are powerful. They are unique to you. None of you are all smart ladies and you know all people that are great. You've done great work, but none of us will have similar, exact same trajectory of life. No, I started with an MBA as a teller. Most people would say, hell no, I'm not gonna go in. A teller can be a high school dropout, but I use that to get my food into the door. I'm not downing teller job. I'm just saying that the criteria to get into a teller job doesn't require an MBA. But in the 80s, that was how I could get in, because I knew once I got in, I was going to get to that vice president through hard work. But I didn't know the journey, the pains that I will have to go through. But I knew it won't be easy, but I knew I was ready for the work. And I did it. And I did a lot of things to be able to validate my experiences. I serve as a commissioner in my state now. I'm also a minister in my church. I wear different. I'm a mother of 3 amazing grown children who are in great companies. So, and I've been married for 32 years. And all of these things are part of my experiences. So anything I do, it will reflect in my decision making, whether in the boardroom, at the marketplace. These are my pride. Nobody can take me being a mother, a wife, a corporate person. Nobody can take that away from me. You don't have to like me. That's your choice. It's none of my business what you like and what you don't. But my own assignment is to be able to speak truth to power and to share my best demonstrated practices and to inspire my young emerging leaders so they can know that there's nothing they cannot do in this world, not just even in America. Wherever their world is, they can shatter anything they want to shatter, but they've got to work it. They've got to work it, and they've got to be able to focus on solutions, not problems. They've got to be able to create portfolio of activities that will be a value addition. They have to also disassociate from being personal. Don't take anything personal. People are ignorant till you help them understand. And if they still choose to stay ignorant, let them be. Who cares? Let them be. They won't stop you. I heard you asking a question, how do you disassociate with people that maybe are not adding value? If they are just baggage that you're carrying that's heavy, dead weight, then you find a polite way. You still love on them. You just exclude them from situations and programs that you think they won't be interested in. And when they see it, they're like, oh, you didn't let me know. Oh, I didn't know that you'll be interested. And you just keep moving. You don't bring people that will make you feel like you're not up to something good to come and inspire you, because they don't see you beyond what they saw you doing yesterday. So when your new you came, they're still looking at Remi the banker. So when they see Remi the speaker, they have to kind of check it out and say, what's the difference between a banker, leader, and a speaker? I spoke as a leader in my corporate America. Now I'm taking it on a level whereby I've been trained and so on. So I say all of this for you. Yours might not be speaking. For me, initially it was speaking. Look towards your future, not your past. Your future can only be greater and better, because creativity is what creates the best future. And the best future can be a collaborative one. And enlist yourself to be someone who can share and care about the generation behind you. We purpose ourselves in being that intergenerational bridge builder. And why so? I came into America at age 17. I didn't know, other than my brother that I stayed with, we didn't know the system. But I was determined that where I was coming from, I had nothing but role models. And I wasn't going to come here and be a second-class citizen or person to nobody. I knew it was going to take time, but I was ready to work it. And I served my way, like I tell people jokingly when I'm talking to my youth, I said, I served my way to greatness. I did strategic volunteerism. I was always that one that would raise my hand on a weekend. You know, people don't like to give their weekend to do anything, representing the company. When we're going to churches, to open accounts, to talk about anything. Weekend, I'm ready. Leave the kids home. All of those expose me to the community. So if you're listening to us, or if you listen to us later, volunteer and serve your way to greatness. There's nothing that we desire that is not already available, but start where you are and do it afraid. So what if it doesn't work the first time? At least you can check it off your list and you can go for the next time. Believe it or not, the next time might not work. It might be a couple of times. So what? When it works, you will forget about the hurt. So our pains have turned to purposes. Now that's why we're talking about it. And we're talking about it, blushing, smiling. I'm sure when we were going through that pain, it probably was, there were some angry moments, some mean looks. So if you're here and you're hearing us and you hear us later, just have a network that you can trust. Be a trusted person yourself, because it begins with you. What you give, what you are is what you're going to attract. So you better be that person and you attract such people. And embrace your relationship currency and nurture it. Guard your relationship currency, because that's all you have. It's not about the money in the bank. Your relationship currency will help to make your network very healthy. It's not just networking, it's networking intentionally and knowing that what you're doing is galvanizing relationship currency. Thank you so much. I know I went over a few minutes. I thank you so very much for this opportunity to be part of this. And thanks for all that you all are doing, ladies. We rock and we will continue to do our best. So help us, God. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Remi. We really, really appreciate all the nugget and the wisdom that you gave us again, especially, when you gave us, your background, that's, to me, it really a reflection of there's no ceiling. So that's really an encouragement for us to be able to share that your story, your background, and nothing really stopped you, even though, like you said, sometimes it was hard, you had to share some tears, but you have to keep going. And that's what we've been sharing with the ladies since Tuesday. Say, we are unstoppable. We need to keep going. Thank you so much, Dr. Remi, for that story. Yeah. My question to you, can you also share with us those people that they were always, because you have to have your team, you have to have your tribe. Can you share with us also some of the people who always there for you to encourage you and push you through those tough moments?
Sure. Thank you so much. A woman of faith, and of course, I anchor my faith and everything I do to God Almighty. That's my number one partner that I rely on. I am very independent in what I do, and I hear from God a lot in my directions in what I do. And because I know my purpose, it took me a minute to know what it is. I know my purpose in my sleep, in my play. So right there, my faith is very strong. My network is a lot of my friends. My husband is always my sounding board to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, just to get a feel. They'll keep it real. If it sucks, they say already, oh gosh, sure, forget it. And my kids are grown. They are 32 and on until 25. So those are my real core network. I know you're like, what is that? Because they know my passion. My passion didn't just start yesterday. It started so many 30-something years ago. So they're so used to me sounding like a broken record of somebody who wants to make impact. So now they know me in verbatim. And I have my mentors like the Les Browns and all those big names who, if there's a need, they're there for me. And what I do a lot of is also, my network are people who are ego-minded. I am part of associations that are remarkably progressive in supporting women. I'm part of the 100 Black Women, the Sister for Sister Network. Some of these associations are where you also can trade your talent and treasure to add value to the cause and also have a platform. So in those things, everything I associate with, it's got to be real. I don't have time to waste. I'm not one of those that want to talk to everybody every day. I don't have time for that. But I want to be able to pick up the phone, and I want you to be able to pick up the phone if you need me, and we text away and we say, okay, does it look good? Is that, and we do it, done. So that's the way I have my own village of network. And I rely a lot on my young leaders, my mentees. I tell them all the time. I learn so much from them because I'm a mentor. I have slew of a mentoring and coaching program locally and globally. And these are the brightest emerging young leaders you can ever wish for in any area. So these ones are the ones I'm like, okay, once they say, I say, okay, let's do it. And sometimes I put them in the front to do. I said, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be on the scene. Let me just push. Let me use all this relationship currency to push you because I don't want to be talking. You all should be doing this. Oh, do you think? Go do it. It's my platform, right? Go, let's do it. So that has really been a way to get the best of young leaders to know that, oh, wow, they get excited. The little things get them excited because they are young and growing. And I knew how hard it was for me when I was younger, from that 17 and up, to even get anybody to pay attention to me, period, except that when they do, they use and dump. But I was like, no, that won't be my own formula. And these kids are smart. I call them kids. My oldest is 32. So they're very smart. If they know you care, they will show you everything and much more all the time. So that's my network. That's my tribe. And that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Remi. And I really like what you share about your own journey, coming here with your brother. I believe you said, in this country, you didn't know anybody, but you were determined. And that's really the kind of mindset that really help many of us to be able to pivot, like you said. So can you share with us how was the process of your mindset? Because that's really something we're talking about all this week since Tuesday, about the mindset process. How was your mindset, especially when you started at the bank, or even before that, for your first year, or maybe some of the couple years in your journey as a leader?
Yes, thank you. I want to give glory to God. Ever since I've known myself to be a human being who remembers anything, I've had a mind. I have a thick skin. I never look for anybody to endorse me. I believe I can create my own stuff. I can create a brand. I saw myself from day one that I am a brand, meaning there's not going to be a replica of me.
Yes.
And whoever you are, I don't care your name, that's you. You will never have another Remi do you. There's no way. So that is a resolute mindset that I carry. Because I carry that and I know I'm authentic, so I use that as a way to say, you know what, I can work hard, and I work hard all the time. So I'm a thinker. I think a lot. I'm a speaker when I have to speak, but I don't talk a lot. Seriously, a lot of people will not know what to make of me. But if I have something to say, I'm gonna say real good. So for me, my mind is where I do all my thinking. And all I can see is possibilities, honestly. But it takes work. So I'm always working there like, how do you relax? I say my relaxation is what I'm doing right now. Am I going to relax and be sleeping? I sleep when I put my head on the pillow, I'm sleeping sound like a baby. But this is what is important to me. So for me, just being able to stay positive. I used to own my own mortgage company and I lost everything after I left the bank. But one day, nobody ever knew that I suffered any pain of anything because you can never see it. And I never wear it around the house either, because I believe in possibility. I believe if the door is shut, God has opened another. The only thing is that it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of you investing in yourself to get exposed to people who are bigger than you, who are not just under you. I'm always swimming with the sharks. So what? I haven't drowned yet. But I bring things to the table, they bring things to the table. So my mindset is always geared to possibilities, and knowing that the formula for that is hard work. And I'm ready to work it. And God has helped to do that. So far, so good.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Remi. That was really very, very good because that's mindset is everything. So we really appreciate that, all the nugget. And many of us, we will be in touch with you and you're gonna come back again, hopefully by in April, when we're gonna do like every interview for all our speakers so people can get to know you more and know how they can get involved with you and all the wonderful things you're doing, the mentorship and all of that. We promise everybody by the end of the conference, put all your links and the social media, everybody, so people can connect with you guys. Because the reason why we did this, with Coach Sandra, it's about connecting one another and partnership, true partnership. Because just like you said, Dr. Rem, we don't have time to waste time or fool around. We're really here to really bridge, really to do the bridge between all our sisters and the people who are doing the work, because we are really connecting the people who are doing the work, and it's about empowering one another. So thank you so much, Dr. Randy.
Thank you all so much. I'm sorry I have to take my leave. I also double up as a professor, so I have a class in another, actually 1 o'clock. So I need to
Thank you, Auntie.
myself.
Thank you for stepping
And thank you all very much. And congratulations. Great meeting you all.
Thank you.
Blessings. Bye.
All right. Wow.
Sandra, want to say something about what Dr. Remi just said?
She says success is a journey. And I always say that to every girl and everyone running a race out there. It's a race. We have to continue running no matter how down. It's full of ups and downs, but just know it's never gonna be easy. And some days you're gonna wake up like, but just say, if I don't, who will? If I don't, who will? You have to prepare yourself for the journey. And Steve Harvey says, the road to success is always under construction. And each time I'm going through things, I remember that one word. Every morning, I have to tune on Steve Harvey radio. And one day I was watching Steve Harvey, and he was speaking about injustice. And that morning, I was on my way to the to court with tears in my eyes. And when he was narrating, and this poem came, and to tell you all the truth, before I reached the court room, I wrote one page of poem, I Wish You Knew. And I got that from everything that Steve Harvey was saying. And it's a poem that I'm going to share with everyone. And no matter what you are going through, if it's a radio show, a music, I'm always lying on music and listening to people talking. And when you are listening to some music, it brings back so many things. And as a writer, that's where I get my inspiration from. Listening to radio, and my number one radio that I listen to all the time is Steve Harvey. And if you don't listen to him, early morning, just tune in. When I'm taking my children to school around 5 a.m., I have to listen and get inspired by the word that they always put out there. And today we have so many people who are podcasters and things. Connect with them. You can send them. I'm going to start sending my poem to them so they can share it with the world. So that's how we succeed, by empowering one another. Don't keep whatever you know to yourself. If those who came before us kept it to them, we're not going to be speaking about them today. Never. And today, Mrs. Rosalyn had the courage to share something with all of us. Now we're going to gather together how to help her, how to come together and be a support. Because no matter what she was facing, she said, I'm here to help you guys no matter what, without knowing what she was facing. Even though she's busy, she's always come back and reply and say, sorry, I'm doing this, but I'm going to come in. So, Rosalyn, you are from today, you will never be alone. because you are around a sister who will be there for you and support you. Thank you for being a sister. And I always call you, good morning, my sister. So just know you became a sister from another mother, and together we will do more. It's not gonna stop here. Thank you all, ladies. Thank you, Miss Sandra. We've been sharing things. We all here, we are doing our thing. So thank you, Janine, back to you.
Thank you so much for definitely being here with us for this first session this morning. We were blessed to have great, amazing speakers this morning. So thank you so much, Rosalyn. That was amazing that you shared with us about self-care and really keep going no matter what. That was amazing. And also we had Coach Nancy. She gave us a lot to be how you can stay focused, and don't forget, you need to be fearless. That's many of us in this journey as a leader, authentic leader, you have to do that every single day. So thank you for supporting us, and continue that what Dr. Remi said. You need to start creating your portfolio. So that's something you remember. I remember today I was taking some notes. So even you out there, I don't know where you guys are connected to, could be in Africa, could be Canada, Paris, everywhere. Make sure that you do start writing down all your goals and start really creating your portfolio. Because again, the moment you start putting stuff together, people are gonna start listening to your story because you're creating solution every day. So thank you for being here again with us today. We are very grateful. And we're gonna have this afternoon session with amazing leaders again. So come back, please join us again this afternoon from 3 p.m. Eastern Time and 2 p.m. Central Time. So merci beaucoup pour tout le monde qui s'est connecté sur Facebook, YouTube. Please restez connectés à nous. Et on a été vraiment bénis par toutes ces femmes qui nous ont donné beaucoup des éléments pour qu'on puisse avancer dans notre leadership. Et commence à créer ton portfolio. C'est important. En tant que leader, en tant qu'authentic leader, commence à créer ton portfolio. So, aujourd'hui, tu as beaucoup d'éléments et on va aussi partager tous les notes qu'on a pris. Et à la fin de la conférence dimanche, nous allons partager tous les liens, que ce soit sur le social media, tous les websites de tous les speakers, comme ça tout le monde sera connecté. Parce que la raison pour laquelle on a fait cette conférence, on voulait que tout le monde puisse se connecter et avoir les éléments qu'il faut, que tu puisses plus avoir des excuses en tant qu'authentic leader. So thank you guys for being with us again this morning, and we will see you all at 2 p.m. Central Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Coach.
Right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you. We're gonna give you a little break.
See you soon. See you soon, Miss Sandra. See you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
See you later this afternoon.
Okay.
See you later this afternoon.